have a package for the council members.
However, would you give us your name and?
Yes, but first I want to, there's one package that's specifically labeled for Mr. Musgrove, and then the others are for the council members. Hopefully you can get Michelle's to hers when she has a chance to do it. Thank you. Hello, my name is Rivers Arinsky, and before I start, this is going to go over 4 minutes, so I have a timer, as y'all often see, set for 4:52, which I'll be starting, that will warn me when I have 8 seconds left to conclude my speech. I ask that our city clerk does not give me the 4-minute warning because I'm going to have an 8-second warning from my timer that I'm starting right now. Florence City Council, I come before you tonight to ask that you deny the request from High Cotton Homes and Will King to rezone the property at 413 South Cedar from R1 to RB at the time you vote. I've lived directly adjacent to the property in question at 419 South Cedar ever since 2004 when my mom purchased the home. In the 19 years we've owned the home, we made many improvements, including adding trees, adding central AC, adding a new roof, and adding a new fence. Granting the rezoning request would mean our property at 419 South Cedar will be the only property zoned residential on the block, and this would lower our property value as a resident. I spoke to the Planning Commission on August 22nd regarding my concerns, and I was hoping to speak to Mr. King after the meeting concluded, but Councilmember Eubanks did attest to the fact that Mr. King walked out of the meeting while I was speaking to the Commission, and I do not see Mr. King present tonight either. Last week, while the property at 413 South Cedar was still zoned residential, Mr. King added a commercial parking lot to the property without obtaining a permit from the city. He used this parking lot for customers of Simply Baked, the new bakery inside historic Mapleton, during their open house on December 1st. This use does not conform to the R1 zoning. At one time during the event, there were 9 vehicles parked in the unpermitted parking lot on the R1 property. I have a video showing customers of Simply Baked walking to the unpermitted parking lot where they parked their vehicle beside several other vehicles that were not supposed to be parked there because, again, unpermitted parking lot. In order to have a commercial parking lot on the 413 South Cedar property, Mr. King first has to receive RB zoning from the city and then file a permit with the city showing the proposed design of the parking lot that includes a landscape plan with a buffer of evergreen trees between the parking lot and RR1 property at 419 South Cedar. If the Florence City Council grants the request from Mr. King to rezone the property at 413 South Cedar, you are sending a message to all developers that it is okay to circumvent the process laid out in the Florence City codes. 1 to 3 of the parking spaces closest to our property that Mr. King made without a permit are within the zone that should be reserved for the buffer of evergreen trees, as well as part of a new driveway Mr. King created. These should be removed immediately. Mr. King cut 80% of the trees in the 4 months he owned the property at 413 South Cedar, leaving us with less privacy from the traffic on Dr. Hitz Boulevard. And cutting the trees caused 3 floodlights from Mr. King's adjacent property, historic Mapleton at 420 Pine Street, to shine into one of our bedrooms and 2 of our bathrooms at night, making it difficult to sleep. I spoke to the Florence Building Department, the Florence Engineering Department, and the Planning Commission. While the floodlights were turned on 18 times between August 17th and November 13th, when Mr. King finally changed the bulbs before he brought the rezoning vote in front of the council. After Mr. King had the trees cut, his crew dug a big hole next to the property line, causing one of our trees to lean over. Because the tree is hanging over the AT&T line, there was nothing Florence Utilities could do. A worker from AT&T did come out, and they stated that they couldn't do anything about the leaning tree until it fell in their line. It's still leaning right now. If this tree falls, not only will it fall on their line, it could block the alley behind our home and further damage our fence, or land on some of our smaller trees, depending which direction it falls. While my mom and I would like for the tree to remain, we are not sure if it's safe for the tree to be left in its currently leaning state, and we request that Mr. King helps us replace this tree with a full-size tree if it has to be cut, and pay the cost for cutting it. I've watched as Mr. King and members of his construction crew have blocked Cedar Street and the alley on multiple occasions by parking pickup trucks and even a bulldozer on one occasion without placing orange cones. I have pictures of the driver illegally parking the bulldozer in the middle of Cedar Street and walking away. I'm concerned if this illegal parking is allowed to continue, that an accident will occur where someone gets seriously injured, not expecting a pickup truck or bulldozer to be parked in the middle of the street. On September 25th, 3 Florence police officers showed up to my home after someone made false allegations against me regarding taking pictures. In the 19 years I've lived in my home, I've gotten along great with my next door neighbors and the property owners in my neighborhood up until Mr. King bought a store at Mapleton. If the person that filed the police report has any relationship to Mr. King or his company, I'm concerned about the possibility of them making more false allegations against me after my objection to the rezoning. When the Florence City Council votes, I ask that you deny Mr. Keene's request to rezone the property until Mr. Keene presents a plan to the city that will conform to the Florence City Code and alleviate my concerns. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Anyone else? Now, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll bring the subject up for the rezone at the next